Welcome to the Sales Dojo podcast. The podcasts are here to help you address the real issues salespeople face every single day.
Hey, welcome to the Sales Dojo podcast. Podcast is here to help real salespeople with the real issues they face every single day. We want to help you hit those targets, make more sales, earn more commission. Go and buy those new shoes for yourself. My name's Chris Dawson.
My name's Leon McCowan.
Leon, we are joined today all the way from Singapore by the CRO at Score App, Mr. Maxwell Nee. Maxwell, thank you very much for giving us some time.
Hey, Maxwell.
Hey, gents. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure, pal. Before we get into it and start having a good chat, if our audience loves what you got to say, they want to learn more about you or they want to learn more about Score App, give us some details now. How are they best coming to find you all?
Best place to get me is probably on LinkedIn. I'm addicted to LinkedIn. So, you'll get me within 24 hours or so. Maxwell Nee. I'm the only one on there with that name on LinkedIn.
Oh, that's helpful, isn't it? I'm right with you on the addiction to LinkedIn. I need a different app now to stop me going onto LinkedIn all the time. And if you need me, DM me on LinkedIn because it's the only thing my phone is set to ping for because I love conversations that come through. Best way to get me as well. Maxwell, let's dive straight into it. First question that we ask everybody to kick off before we just go off piste and have a mad conversation. Maxwell, can you remember the first sale that you ever made in your long career? And we want to talk about your career as we go along. And can you remember what you spent your first ever bonus check on?
Oh, good question. Let me share about my first sale as an entrepreneur, because that was the first one that really counted, not when I was an employee. And it was, before COVID. Closed sale, total cold sale. Most people get their first bunch of sales from friends and family, but this was totally cold and first time building this business, first time delivering the service. So I was, shaking, mouth was dry. Couldn't believe that she was saying yes, because it was my first call as well. So it was like one of one. But I primed it and I sort of selected it well and did a whole bunch of pre-work. So, all the stars just aligned for the first call, first sale, first closure. And then I spent that money going to meet, basically to do like a business retreat. Like I reinvested it immediately straight into just, learning how to generate more sales and more leads. Because I was like, wow, two things clicked. The first thing was, wow, this is possible. I can do this. And the second thing was, I need to do more. I need to do 10 more a day type of thing before it's, really meaningful. So yeah, I remember it very well.
I love that one for one as well. Can you talk us through a bit about that process? I mean, did this come off the back of just picking up the phone, or did you door knock or cold email someone or through socials? How did this?
Yeah, you're not going to believe me. So it was through a dating app. It was through a dating app. So I was on a dating app, and the dating app has two functions. One function is dating, the other function is networking. So I went to the networking part of the dating app, and it's networking with people. And I said, "Hey, what are you up to? Working on this." And then I was just listening, and she said, "Oh, I need help with email marketing." And I was just learning how to sell email marketing. I said, "Oh, I think I can help you." And it was just right place, right time. Right question, right poking of the holes type of thing. And then it unfolded, and then took her like 3 days to decide. And then she wired the money.
Wow. And there's no crescendo like, and she also became my wife or anything?
No.
And you reinvested the money, which I love, is, so many sales we know, and I was one of these as well, 25, 30 years ago. Your first big bonus check comes in. I was a weekend millionaire. All the gear came out. But you reinvested this. What did you reinvest it in? You said it was a self-development sort of thing. Did you go on a course or a boot camp?
So I was living in Canada at the time, and then I met who then became my business partner, this guy called Adrian. He was living in Barcelona, and he said, "Hey, I'm working on this thing. I think we could really work together. We've been talking online for a while." He's like, "Why don't you, if you can, why don't you come over, stay at my place. We'll thrash this out. Lock ourselves in a den and workshop this to see if we can make it into a business. And at the time, I had nothing else better to do, and I knew that it was so hard to find this one sale. I was like, I need more leverage, more better strategies. I need just more smarts to find my next 100 sales. So I immediately took that sale, booked a trip to Barcelona, and then started working with my new business partner.
I'm sure the movie of this event will be out soon. It sounds like as well. So let's fast forward a bit now. You're now the Chief Revenue Officer at Score App. For those who haven't heard of it, can you just give us the headlines? Tell us a bit about Score App, how it helps people or helps entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so Score App is a lead generation tool that's based in the UK, and it has about just under 10,000 paying clients right now. So it's pretty sizable, been around for almost 5 years. And what we do is we help to engage audiences and turn them into highly qualified leads.
Okay, so people listening right now, obviously there's a lot of noise out there about we're going to generate your leads, isn't there? We've got people who do it by picking up the phone, they'll run email cadences, they'll take over your social media, click funnels, webinars, whatever it might be. Give us that little elevator pitch. Why is what you guys are doing different?
Yeah, so we don't actively go out and source leads for you. We help you to convert an audience into leads. So what that means is we're a mix between like SurveyMonkey and ClickFunnels. So we help you to build a quiz marketing funnel that has people answer questions. Then they basically put themselves through a quiz, and they get customized feedback, and then that engages them to give you their details and let you know whether they're cold, warm, or hot, ready to buy.
I like that. It's like a traffic light system for
Yeah.
that lead search. Yeah, because we see this a lot, don't we, Max, with businesses? Here's a load of leads, and you're like, it's barely what we'd call a lead.
Yeah.
This
It's just a bunch of phone numbers, like.
Yeah, this person's next door neighbour's mother-in-law once said that she might have had an interest 10 years ago in this thing. And off we go. So is this, you say this is in the UK, but you're in Singapore right now. Is this going to be is this a global thing that it's going to be, or are you really niching down on a certain region?
For Score App?
The Score App, yeah.
No, Score App's all around the world. I think we're pretty much even split across, the US, Australia, Asia Pacific, the UK. We've got almost 10,000 clients all around the world. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to go back a bit. You made this first sale. It was 1 out of 1.
Yeah.
Dig down a bit. This platform that you were doing it on was half networking, half dating, which I don't know whether I'm really oblivious here and everybody knows about this. Is that still a thing? I mean, are you still part of this app? Or this?
No, I'm married now, so I've deleted all the apps, all the dating apps. But this, I think it still exists, definitely. Yeah.
So I think it's really fascinating. The world I live in is quite predominantly top of funnel, so it's cold outreach sort of level in the sales world.
Yeah.
And the amount of comparisons we make between cold outreach and the dating world, that your initial outreach isn't to book a meeting or to make a sale, it's to find out, should we have another conversation or not? And then, okay, well, you get a first date. The goal of that first date is, should we have a second date? Not to get a second date, it's to qualify each other a little bit, isn't it? When it comes to the work that you're doing now, I love this traffic light system. For those listening, I find a lot of salespeople struggle with what qualified means. If you were chatting to a sales team right now and you said, look, we can qualify people at different levels, to you, and this is maybe putting you on the spot a bit, but in your world, Maxwell, what would a well-qualified lead mean? Like, what makes it well qualified?
Yeah, so well qualified, I would say that's in that top 90%. So the top 90% is, you can picture them with their credit card walking around the shopping mall. That's well qualified. Intent and budget. So you got to have intent and budget, and they're walking around looking. But the trick is the last piece is urgency. Do they have the urgency to take the action today? That might not be a yes today, but it could be a yes in an hour from now, a day from now, a week from now. But they do have the intent and the budget in hand. So those are the people who you want to be nurturing, right? You want to be nurturing. You want to be connecting with. You want as many of those people around you as possible, and you want the next level down, right? You want budget, but intent is still cooking. It's still boiling. It's still boiling. It's still boiling because typically when see everyone goes for the people that are ready to buy right now, and the hardest thing about trying to convert those people that I've found is that they typically already know who they're going to buy from. You know what I mean? So if you're in the UK and you want to buy a house and you have a loan approved with Barclays, right? And you're out there house shopping, then all of a sudden Monzo comes along and says, hey, look, why don't you switch your home loan? It's like, oh, no, I don't know. I've already made this decision. Why would I take 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward? So it's actually sometimes easier getting in front of the people who are still 3 months away from actually pulling the trigger, because you've gotten them without any friction to pull them away from any decisions they've already made.
I think it's a really good point, Maxwell, isn't it? Is salespeople are always hunting that somebody who goes, oh, we were just thinking about that, let's do business right now. But at that stage of their buying process, the vendor's already been decided, or the paperwork started. If somebody said to me, we need a training course to start next Tuesday, well, 1, I can't do that for you next Tuesday. And 2, you've already signed up with the training organization. I'm looking for the organizations that are thinking, let's look into Q4. What are the needs coming up? How do we look at this? How do we deal with this? How do we analyze this? And I want to be able to throw my hat in the ring with everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm not the check buyers pyramid as it is. Yet when we do cold outreach and people say, oh, yeah, we're not looking at that at the moment, people take that as a rejection. And you're like, well, if you were looking at that at the moment, I'm 3 months too late. That's great that you're not looking at that at the moment.
Exactly.
Let's talk about where you are. Yeah, I love that. I'd like to go deeper into your career a little bit, if that's all right.
Yeah, please.
We've done a bit of stalking. We've done our research, as rightly should do. You went from a corporate banking world to running a coaching business. Could you tell us a bit about that? Because that really got our attention.
Yeah, that gets a lot of people's attention. So I started off with corporate banking for the largest company in Australia, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, and I was just loving it at the time, and worked my ass off and got like 3 promotions in 5 years and did all that corporate sprinting. And then, like a lot of people, realized that it was just so empty and unfulfilling. And then I didn't mean to go into coaching, but it I think a lot of people that have hit a cataclysmic event in their life where like a big change happened, like a big job change. They move countries, they divorce, they get out of a relationship, they go into a relationship, they move from the UK to Barcelona. They sort of discover coaching because all of those big changing events are personal development events, right? Like you need to grow to change your environment that drastically. And then, because my environment kept changing, I kept resonating with coaching, which is, obviously personal development. So this first sale that I just told you about, she was essentially like my first coaching client. But it was more tactical at that point, and then we started getting more deeper into the emotions as I learned more about how much emotions, blockages, and fears get in people's way to take action. And then I met one business partner, met another, and then all of a sudden we built a 7-figure coaching business in 12 months during the pandemic. Yeah.
7 figures, obviously a large amount to go up to in 12 months. And you mentioned this, emotional blockers people have, and people can coach from experience. What changed in your mindset going from one Australian-based corporate banking life, because it's your world, isn't it, into a totally different world and being quite quickly successful at that? What mindset shift did you have? What did you kind of coach yourself on there, Maxwell?
I wasn't so much a shift, it was more of a slap in the face. So I was sitting there at my office, and looking at my boss and my boss's boss in the corporate bank, and they're all sitting next to each other, and they're all 10 years older than the next, right? And that's just a linear path if I stay here. And I thought, wow, they all look really unhappy. And then it hit me. I was like, wow, like that's what I'm buying, with the next 25 years of my life. That's what I'm looking at, literally looking at the future right now. And then I realized, what the hell am I doing here? So then in that moment, I was like, wow, it sort of clicked how much I had been padding and tolerating, not going for what I really wanted, which is, to have 100% time freedom in being an entrepreneur and not selling out to corporate and having unlimited earning capacity, instead of just working in a box salary, in a box time frame, in a box, 9 to 5. I wanted to have, total creative freedom in everything that I do. So, yeah, it was like a real smack in the face of seeing my unhappy bosses.
It's a real powerful image, and it's like the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. You're seeing yourself waylaid into the future. I think there's probably so many people listening to this, though, that either right now or at some point have felt that. I'm in a box, I'm looking out of a window at another box, doing this thing on a set pay scale. There's songs about it, there's movies about it, isn't there? This working for the man, etc. But many people never break out of that for many reasons. What if somebody's sitting here right now? It's easy for people who've, like ourselves, we've done it, we're years later, we've built a successful business, to say, oh, just do it, go and stick it to the man. But we all have mortgages or families to feed and everything. It's not quite just a stick it and do it, because that can go terribly wrong pragmatically, other than mindset, because you've done this with businesses, highly successful at this, Maxwell. If somebody's sitting there right now thinking, I want to take my box sandwich in my grey office and I'm going to throw it at my boss, walk out that door, be free, be this entrepreneur I read about, what are some pragmatic first steps to take before you really suicide your lifestyle?
Yes, I did suicide my lifestyle. So I know, how I really burnt the boats. I just, didn't really have that much savings and had a mortgage. And I was just like, you know what? I'll figure it out and I'll live, and I can always come back. I think people forget that. You can always go back, right? You can always go back to a job, find another job. People associate that with failure. But I was like, okay, no, it's a means to an end, and along the journey, I did have to pick up some part-time jobs because you got to do what you got to do, right? So I looking back, I think about this a lot actually, and I have given this advice to a few people, but it's not for everyone. If I knew what I knew now, I would know how to build a business now. So I would have that, knowledge advantage and just know what buttons to press, what's a waste of time, what isn't. And I would just try to find a way to finance myself, So the thing about money and business and wages is that people forget that it's all just in an effort to buy time, So if you're an entrepreneur and you have the cash flow, the runway to give yourself 24 months of time, you've got 24 months to create enough value in the world that you could buy another 10 years. Right? Like you've got to think of it as like time chunks. So, what I should have done instead of going for the mortgage is I should have taken a $50K loan, like a personal loan, and, associated that to a runway. Maybe it's 10 months, maybe it's 12 months, and just gone sprinting in value creation to try to solve a big problem to earn money. And then if I'd done that, I could have been out 5 years earlier. Instead of being trapped by fear and doubt and whatever else, because it ended up being the same anyway. I ended up, you think you go out with this cushion and this nest egg or whatever, but I went out without that anyway. So I ripped the Band-Aid. 5 years later, I could have just ripped the Band-Aid. In year 0.
It's an inspiring tale for people, isn't it? And this isn't for everybody, and we get that. And we're not saying, right, everyone, go to the bank, borrow far more than you could ever afford to pay back and just go for it. Like, test your idea first. There's a real thing that stood out to me there, Maxwell, was, and you washed over it, so I'm going to zoom in on it a bit, was go and solve a big problem. And this was one thing that we've looked at. Me and Leon do a lot of work together, helping small businesses and startups and entrepreneurs and that. And one of the first things we look at is, what problem are you solving? Because if the service or the product that you're giving has no need, like there is no problem there that it solves, then you might have just gone and borrowed 50 grand off the bank for nothing. Like, maybe stress test your idea a little bit before jumping off, or would you say no, just go for it?
I think it depends on. Obviously, testing is great, but that's not always possible. It's not always possible to have the clarity that everyone wants. So I do think that there is a pulling of the ripcord at some point that people need to do. And I stress again, it's not for everyone. But then again, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. Being commission only sales is not for everyone, right? Some people are better off with more stability and security, and they perform better. Me in particular, I thrive in chaos. So I actually perform better when there's big things to chew on and big things to tackle.
Yeah, I saw a post on LinkedIn this morning by a lady saying, hey, you know what? I've done my own business for a little bit and I've worked out through this journey that it's not for me. So I'm now looking for another place of employment. And quite rightly, everyone's gone, well done, brilliant. Really brave to say that. You've recognized it. You've had a go. It's not for you. Go and do something else. I think that's really cool. The same way that you said, Maxwell, you can always go back. Like, it's not.
You can always go back.
Yeah.
And some days I wish I could be happy as an employee. Some days are really hard, and I wish, oh man, it'd be good to just clock out and take 4 weeks leave and go to Mykonos and just not care and walk away from my boss and whatever else. But then I wake up 3 days later hungry again. So I think self-awareness is the biggest reason why people succeed or fail in business, because it either helps you to learn lessons fast, or you learn them really slow.
I always laugh with other entrepreneurs and talk about how the crazy thing about entrepreneurs is that we work 80 hours a week for ourselves, so we don't have to work 35 hours a week for somebody else. And it's kind of just a mindset thing, isn't it? In terms of that, you just don't ever want to stop. And you see lots of guff online about how you should have a work-life balance and you should take it easy. And I agree that you shouldn't overwork and burn out, but there's just something insatiable in entrepreneurial people that they just don't ever want to stop working towards that goal. It's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, a big part of it is you just got to really be honest about what you're looking for. Some people might think that they want, the tech unicorn or the big 10, 50 million pound business, the big machine, when really they just want the 4-person team, earn $1 million a year. But that's like free cash flow, and they have as little responsibility as possible, as little, he or she's responsible for paying as. So I'll give you an example. So in my last business, we're doing pretty well, doing like almost $2 million a year, 85% profit margin, right? But we're working 17 hours a day. So you can't do that forever. Basically just like a sales engine. And my business partners and I, there's 3 of us, we all wrote down what do we want? So I've never asked that before. We're just sprinting into like the pitch black just every day, not knowing what we want, no vision board, just really hungry to just flex the muscle and see how much entrepreneurial success we could generate, right? And then my first business partner wrote down, I want $20K a month net, but total freedom, like be able to take holidays when I want, just float in and out of the business, basically like a board seat, like a board seat type, but still want the influence decision making. So exactly like a board seat, but $20K a month. My next business partner was an electrical engineer. So he said, I want $10 million a year business. I'll take a salary from that, take holidays from that. I want structure. I want a machine. I want to know that my machine is ticking when I'm sleeping. I want to know it's ticking when I'm, doing the gardening. Like I just want to know it's ticking all the time. Like that's what really turns me on. And then I wrote the same thing that I always write. Is that, I don't get out of bed unless I know I'm building something that's $100 million or more. Or now it's $1 billion. Like I don't care what it is. I don't care if I'm solving climate change. I don't care if I'm planting seeds. I don't care if I'm stitching buttons on shirts. I just want to be doing something with a big impact. So I walk away and I see, wow, I built that mountain. So you got three very different people, and because we were honest with ourselves, we were able to acknowledge when it was the right time to walk away, because we were all pulling the business in three different directions. You like, one of them wanted to build a luxury car, one of them wanted a sports car, and the other one wanted an SUV. Or just all driving in different directions.
I think it's a really interesting point about having that, and it goes back to the self-awareness, that really honest conversation early on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like any relationship, let's go full circle back to this place where you could network and date at the same time. That honest communication up front is really important. What do you want from a relationship? Like, do you want a marriage and 8 children?
Yeah.
Stay in a house? Do you want no children and to travel around the world together? What do you want early on? If you read LinkedIn, especially at the moment, and there's a million people giving a million bits of advice, and it would be easy if you were new to the business owning game to think that if you didn't have $100 million company, you were a loser. Like you failure. The average UK business turnover is 806,000 a year. That's on it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even touch the million point, and you're up to the average. And that's including the big boys and the micro businesses as well.
Yeah. And 90% don't make it past 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, a huge amount don't make it past 12 months.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, there's more drivers, as you said, is what impact are you going to have on the world, on people, what difference are you leaving behind? The numbers is only just one metric on there, isn't it? When it comes to sales then, Maxwell, because who's listening to this? Salespeople, sales leaders, small business owners, medium-sized business owners. When this whole thing comes to sales and selling, I want to look into that future. Obviously, you've got a cracking past. I'm sure you've got a plan for the future. And we always ask everybody what's going to be different in 5 years. But we've learned, don't predict that. Like, since 2020, nobody's got a clue what the future is. So I'm going to flip it a bit for this episode, Maxwell. If we were to fast forward to 2030, frighteningly only 5 years away now, what's not going to be different in the sales and business landscape? Like, what are the North Stars? What's going to stay the same that you could bet on?
Wow, it's a good question. And Jeff Bezos asked this question. So I'm a big fan of this question. So what's not going to change in terms of sales? Look, I think so there's 3 things to make a sale, right? The first thing is you need the logical pull, right? So the logic, the features and benefits, the RAM, the memory, the hard disk space, the screen size, the battery life of your MacBook. That's the logic. Then you got the emotion, which is the sex factor, the prestige, the pricing, the status of the MacBook. But nothing happens unless there's urgency, right? So the urgency is, I want to buy this, but the magic is to be able to get your clients to say, I want to buy this today, right? How do you want to buy this today? And there's ways you can manufacture urgency with scarcity, with limited editions, with time. But I think the secret sauce is to be able to the secret sauce will be able to find that timing. I think in 5 years' time there'll be enough data on people that people will be able to tell when you're actually ready to pull the trigger. Like, it's already happening. Like when I'm looking for new protein shakes, I get protein shakes all over my Instagram, my newsfeed, and I buy them 7 out of 10 times because it's just so accurate, so right, and you know what, life's just easier, just clicking buttons instead of driving out to the shop. Like it just is, you know. So it's that being able to catch the urgency, the spark of urgency better and better with your potential clients. Like what data feeds you, what leading information data can you use to feed you that? That's really going to be 90% of the game in 5 years.
Maxwell, if you don't mind, I want to jump on the urgency point a little bit, because I had an interesting conversation with someone last week, and they've got a really cool app that helps with health related stuff. And they were asking me about an email they were going to send to a prospect. And I said, well, what's it saying? I said, well, we've got this summer offer. I said, right, okay. And he said, well, what do you think about it? I said, well, what are you trying to do? And he said, we're trying to create some urgency in this customer to come and purchase this product. I said, well, if they ask you for it next month, when the summer's finished, would you still give them the offer? And he said, yeah. I said, well, that's not urgency then. That's actually misleading someone. So when you say about urgency and getting there, what do you mean for our listeners?
Yeah, so it's got to be genuine, right? Like Black Friday sale. Black Friday sale happens on Black Friday, and you can't be doing Black Friday sales, 4 weeks of the year. So it's got to be genuine. Otherwise, people will it's 2 Trustpilot, 1-star Trustpilot reviews, and you're done, right? So you just can't get away with any guff or anything like that anymore. So it's got to be like, this is a real sale. There's a real reason for it, and you might have to tie it towards a physical event. So one thing that we did in our coaching business is to create urgency, because a lot of people were doing webinars. They'll do webinars online all the time. You register and you got the fake countdown, right? Everyone's seen that fake countdown. There's only one showing today, and it happens to be showing in 90 seconds. As long as you wait this 90 seconds, you get to see the only show today of the recorded video. So we didn't do that. We did the hard work. We all lost our voices. We did 2 Zoom workshops a week, every single week for 5 years. Right? And you either showed up and you made it, or you didn't. And if you didn't and you were 2 minutes late, we kicked you out of the room. So we were really, really strict. You had to wait till the next one. So you got to be as strict as, the ultra super VIP guest list at the hardest restaurant to get into in London. Like, you have to be that strict. So if you can do that, you hold the standard really high, then you make people wanting to jump the bar to work and come to you.
It's really interesting. I watch only because he's quite entertaining, a lot of the Rory Sutherland videos, the marketing guy. I don't know if you've seen him online. And he was saying this whole urgency piece and this niche sort of piece. If he was to open an eatery in London, he'd only open it midday till 3 p.m, 2 days a week, and that'd be it. And they would serve bacon butties, cups of tea, and champagne, and that's it. Limited menu, massive limited time it was open, and you can guarantee there'll be a queue around the block to come and get it. And there's no fake scarcity there. It's like, literally, if you turn up at 3:30, we're closed. The door's locked. The lights are off.
Yeah.
You've missed out.
Exactly. And someone like that, right? They do the math. So they do the math. It's okay. If I do this, I work for 2 hours. My prep time's 4 hours, 6 hours a day, right? 6 hours a week, once a week. Can I make, 12,000 pounds in those 6 hours a week, once a week? Yeah, probably. Wow, that's a pretty good return. How much do I need to rent the shop for? So his profit margin is bananas, right? And then he copies and pastes that to different locations. And that's how you build like a real shit hot franchise model.
Yeah, it's the point with it there is it's authentic, though. It's real. And this is the interesting thing. I'm sure there's some graphs on this somewhere. Humans have got a bullshit detector, haven't they? And I just see as AI becomes more and more prevalent and mass social media, big data comes more prevalent, I think our bullshit detector is getting better. Because maybe we're more exposed to these tricks that people are trying to do and going along. And really interesting when you go back to that. It just happens to be starting in 90 seconds. Oh, really? How lucky was I to just click on now? It reminded me, there was a film I was watching the other week, and it was I can't remember what it was. It was an 80s film, and they had a countdown like a bomb was going to go off in 25 seconds unless somebody did something. And if you actually counted 25 seconds out from when it started, everybody was dead. this 25 seconds took about 3 minutes to actually go down. It was a fake 25 seconds for that film kind of pretense for it. I find the whole area fascinating, Maxwell, and I wish we had more time to go deeper and deeper into the stuff that you do. Maxwell, before we finish, I'm sure everybody's loved the conversation. They want to hear more about you. I know you mentioned LinkedIn before. Tell us again, how can they find more about Score App? How can they find more about you?
Yeah, so Score App has a really great, clear website, easy to find. It's scoreapp.com, scoreapp.com. And I'm Maxwell Nee on LinkedIn, the only one on there. And if you message me on there, I'll definitely see it.
Well, we hope everybody fills your inbox on there with some positive messages for you, Maxwell. If you want to learn more about the Sales Dojo, go to www.thesalesdojo.com. There are hours and hours and hours of free content for you to take there from sales trainers and coaches and masterminds from all over the world. If you want to learn more about Sixth Door and the sales training we offer organizations globally, go to 6thdorr.com. And you can always find me and Leon hanging out on LinkedIn, being grumpy and talking about sales 24/7.